Oh, well, any longer than that. Bienvenido, I want you all to be here with us, and I'm going to turn on these lights. I wanted to have it kind of in the moment of the call. I need it to be warmer, though, to be honest. Okay, there we go. More natural. So, a few different things to talk about today, Doc, and I wanted to kind of get started with the idea of recording software, because you sent a message last night at 2 a.m. You wanted to talk about recording software. It's actually 3 a.m. for you, so that's even worse.
Yeah, well, the thing was, I was down in the spiraling abyss of technology and hardware and software, and I was going to get a slap with a bill of $839 in 2 days for StreamYard. And I was like, I'm not paying $800+ per month. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's not.
Oh, hell no.
So I said, what am I going to do? So I started looking at all my lifetime deals and started spiraling, like, what am I going to do? I'm probably going to cobble together a couple things. My workflow is so fast in StreamYard, but I'm not paying $800. It's not worth it. So that's where I ended up.
Like, I think at one point when you and I did videos together, I was kind of annoyed with how StreamYard handled some of like the face cams and stuff like that. And the output could be better just quality wise, just because of, but that's not too much different than other tools either. So it's not necessarily StreamYard's fault, but it was the way that StreamYard presented, I think, was the issue.
Yeah. And I mean, in between, like, this was years ago when we first like met, like the beginning of COVID, I think I was using Ecamm Live, Restream, and StreamYard. StreamYard was like the new kid on the block. It got a lot of momentum at the like 2019, 2020 level. And right then, like, StreamYard just made it so much easier to invite people onto the stream. Since then, Restream is pretty much there. It can do it. I still have other issues with Restream in itself, but the feature that I use the most for guests, I can cover there. We'll talk about Meld Studio, the pros and cons.
That's not really a good one for, doing interviews, unless you use one tool that I'm going to show you here in a second. I actually pulled up like 6 websites, and I figured we could start off the show kind of going into these real quick.
And then we got to talk about the script too, just letting you know.
It's going to be on this list anyway. So
let's do it.
Basically, Riverside's kind of one of the bigger ones out there. We're technically using it right now, but even today I kept getting notifications saying there is like issues going on with Riverside and just connection quality and stuff like that. And you had an issue when you first joined. There's always some sort of issue. The problem is with a lot of these tools, it's been around one of the longest, and so you get some of the other tools on the market. It's one of those things where like this is going to have less issues than that. Oh, I did forget about one, and that's Podcastle. So technically speaking, Podcastle gave me some hell too, but they've also updated quite a bit since then. And I think that might be an important thing to note. I might actually check them out again for like the third time, maybe third time's the charm, because the second time I still had some issues. Oh, I don't want that online. But now I guess my email got leaked. Maybe I can, And so essentially speaking, there's a few other tools. Zencastr has a really interesting pricing model compared to some other ones, like unlimited recording versus like Podcastle's, I think 14 hours, something like that. Riverside's also kind of the same way. Oh no, it's 20 hours of video recording, 8 hours of video recording per month. And so you have to figure that out with how many things you're doing too. I guess I'll go through these real quick, and then we can talk about which tools you prefer. So next is Descript. They have Descript Rooms, replacing Squadcast. I have yet to try this out, and I've told you many different times, Doc, that we need to try this. I think I just need to get over myself and start doing it. I think part of it was the cost too, and I just really want to give it a shot considering how much effort's been put into it. They talk about it a lot at Podcast Movement. We can get back into this though here in a minute. And then we have Talk Studio by Streamlabs, which is essentially the closest you're going to get to StreamYard, I would say, because I'm pretty sure they copied it in order to make this. And considering it has multi-streaming built into it, I think that is a big deal, because not all of them do. Technically, Riverside can stream, but it's pretty not that great, especially when it comes to account management. This is something I wanted to mention, as in don't use this to anyone watching. I had hell in back with Waveroom, and it's one of the only tools I've ever lost a recording with. And so, yes, it's free. Yes, it looks like a nice website, but the actual tool itself, not good. This one's really interesting, and I've only ever really used it a couple times as a guest, never as a host. But essentially, you can use OBS, or really any probably tool like Meld Studio, to basically create a your own interview situation like we're doing right now. And so this is something that's really interesting. I think we need to play with this more because it's free and you can just connect it to Meld Studio or Ecamm or OBS, etc. And then finally, you mentioned Restream, and I just wanted to show people what that looked like too.
Love it. What's your top three?
I would say Descript Rooms, probably Riverside, just for consistency purposes. And then I'm kind of torn between the last one, essentially, because I haven't really tried Talk Studio, I haven't tried Zencastr, and I haven't tried, Podcastle since they updated. And so I feel like those are kind of equal in my eye in the third place, just because they all had the potential to be pretty good.
And what's the price breakdown of the other ones? Have you looked at like how different the pricing?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I looked at them. I think we talked about it back in like episode 2 of this show or something like that. But it's generally between like $11 to $25 a month, depending on how many hours you need. I think I paid for the lower tier option for Podcastle because I didn't need that many hours. I was just recording interviews. I wasn't doing the show with you yet when I was using Podcastle, or maybe we did one episode on there or something like that. But essentially, like 8 hours was enough because, yeah, most of the interviews were about an hour anyways.
I think I'm going to go with Descript. I think I'm going to try it out, mainly because the aspect of, what are you drinking over there? What do you got?
I knew you were going to ask. So I went to the gas station, which is pretty close by, got a Powerade, and then I put a blue Sour Patch Ghost energy drink into it.
That's a good combo. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I love it. It was a nondescript cup. I was like, what is going on over there? What is he doing here?
Well, you know me with my drinks too.
That's true. So this is the
like
thing.
A Panera.
That's true.
That's my joke there, but yeah.
That's true. I totally forgot. I think you're right. I'm going to go, listen, I don't have a problem with paying for good tools. I think certain things if you're trying to go for the race to the bottom of only free or lifetime, there's going to be clear limitations. What I don't like is the fact that StreamYard was really good for a while. It got bought, and they basically have put it on like life support and just like shelved it because of all, if anyone wants to hear about like what happened with Hopin buying it, all of this stuff, Hopin then dissolving essentially. It had a really good community. A lot of creators were really behind it. If you look at it, I'm not even sure if Nick Nimmin really promotes it as much as he used to. I've got to think about that. Stop making eye contact and doing this. It's weird. So the thing about that is I really believe in this. I really believe that going with an established one like Riverside or Descript, even though they do have bugs, long term, they're going to make it
or
right.
Or cost. It's either bugs or cost.
Yeah. But the other thing is, we'll talk about Restream. Restream is good enough if I'm going to be streaming with other people and going, and just going through this. Meld Studio. Have you streamed with Meld Studio?
Could have sworn I tried. Yeah, because at one point when you and I did that live stream together, you kind of pushed me to do more live streams, and I live streamed myself making a blog post, and I'm pretty sure I did that with Meld.
For me, because I'm streaming on so many platforms, the chat functionality isn't really a great experience.
What about Stream Elements?
With Stream Elements with Meld
OBS.
Studio?
No, OBS.
Should we go back?
We talked about that. Yeah, but see, OBS has all the different plugins. Because there's 3 different plugins. You have the multi-RMTP plugin, which is probably not the greatest choice at this point. You have the ATOM plugin, which has been around for a minute. But I think that with ATOM, you get a better vertical canvas, but you don't necessarily get as great as a multi-streaming plugin. And then you get Stream Elements, which has like the best chat out of all of them.
I don't want to be dramatic. But I want to die the way you're talking about this. I want something simple, something for me to plug and play and just stream easily. If OBS, I'm going to have to spend time. Almost there. So, needless to say, I think the tech stack is going to be, I think it's going to be Restream for right now. It's going to be
because you have a lifetime deal. For me, the issue is it's expensive as hell. Yeah. And it doesn't do vertical at all either, which is like, why?
It does, weirdly. Did I show you the new studio has vertical, but I don't even think it understands what it's doing because you can switch the canvas to vertical, which is okay, but does that mean now that you switch it to vertical, does it show up? You
On
see
like
what I'm saying?
horizontal platforms as
Yeah.
vertical, yeah.
I'm like, or are you doing it just to
Probably.
repurpose it? I assume it would go vertical. I would assume.
I think it, yeah, because Restream's not really too technically powerful. It used to be the thing. It was like Repurposed.io, where like Restream and Repurpose were the two tools that were just, god tier when they came out, and then they've gotten completely just replaced at this point.
Yeah, yeah, and we can go into Repurposed.io. I think it has its place. I think it's just in a totally different lane than what everyone else is doing.
You and I talked about this before. It's a repurposing tool, but it's mainly automation rather than actual repurposing like Opus Clip would do, where it's taking the content and chopping it up automatically. You can technically do it in repurpose, but it's more just like set up to timestamps.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, what was the next thing you wanted to talk about too, by the way?
Was it, what am I talking about? Do you want me to talk about like how it's a random Tuesday after a holiday and people lose their mind?
Sure. I think you were pretty upset about that, so let's go ahead.
Okay. You know this. You've worked at a gym for years. You've worked out. Okay, guys. I'm not saying I've been around the gym for a while, but I've been steadily been going to the gym for almost 20 years now. Okay? Owned a gym, all these things. So I'm out working at a nameless gym right now, and I will not put them on blast because it's not them. Okay. They have outside, they have turf. I like using sleds, slam balls, all this stuff, right? I'm there at the same time every week. There is a couple / small group that are trying to be influencers, maybe. They have their cameras out, all of these things, right? It's a couple, they're millennials, okay? And they start making out during sets. Now, I'm doing my sled pushes, and I see this, right? Not only that when she starts trying to do tricep extensions, he starts licking her triceps. And I was shocked. Maybe they stopped because they saw how shocked I was. I have never been at a gym where there have been so many like habitual line steps in a row. That, listen, if you want to record yourself, I'm like, cool. Like, I have my headphones on, I have my sunglasses. I
think you encountered some OnlyFans people, buddy.
I've never. Oh, I forgot the last thing. So the girl is wearing a skirt, and I was like, okay, she's probably got shorts underneath, whatever. They're probably just short, whatever. But the attitude of when you're like constantly pulling at your skirt trying to do burpees, my assumptions would be you are not wearing the right attire for this movement. I've never seen so many infractions in one gym session I've ever been a part of. This was right before we got on. I was like, and I had to tell my wife, I've never seen so many stupid people at the gym together.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it live anywhere.
I worked at a place called the Arc in my city, which is kind of like a Y, if you will. And it's a public recreation facility. You have the pool, you have the gym, you have the basketball court. It's pretty big. And I can't tell you how many times people tried to like hook up in the locker rooms, stuff like that. And when I was a supervisor there too, I definitely had to go and take care of that. And it's the funniest thing because you're just like, what are you guys doing? You're not sneaky at all. Like we can hear you, we can see you. Like basically around. Yeah, it's weird. People do some stupid stuff.
It was just weird. And other stuff, like just random things on Tuesday. I've never had so many random conversations. And I was just like, man, I think it may be the holiday weekend. People are just kind of off, trying to get back into their rhythm on a Tuesday. But between that and obviously I was up at like 3 a.m. I went down another path and I said, where are you when I need you? It was
me?
Yes. It was
should have called me at that point, dude. Because quick. I actually think I woke up at like 4 a.m. because I have been having a hard time sleeping lately, and so like I think next time you should just call me if it goes through.
I should. I mean, what just because it's a new place, having trouble to sleep?
Well, yeah, new place. They've been doing construction. And also, the light in the morning too has been like a lot brighter than my last place. And so when it comes to waking up, I'm like, oh wow, like I'm getting up at like 7 a.m., 6 a.m. on the dot, and I'm like, bro, I don't want to be up this early.
I was wondering why you were texting me like before this. I was like, shouldn't you be in bed? And then I went and started looking at Raspberry Pi like mods CinePi and looking at how some people are using different sensors and using Sony sensors to create cinema cameras
Mhm.
with different Raspberry Pis. I'm not a hardware guy, but I was like, man, that's fascinating. So then I just started watching videos, getting into gear reviews, and I was like, no, this is a problem. And so it was all over the place. Oh, and I created something with Lovable that might
Mm.
be like something that I think we should talk about as a directory and everything, but that's what I got. Yesterday was just
I need to
everything.
have you build my directory at this point, dude. I can't keep doing the technical side of it.
So can I share my screen or
Yes, you should be able to.
okay, let me do this real quick. Now I know the design. There's a whole other thing I'm working on the design, so calm down, people. Hold on, let me share my screen.
Cinepi.
Yeah, it's anybody like it's amazing. And by the way, tech hardware open source YouTubers are very weird. Excuse me, very weird. Um, they're kind of just in their mom's basements. They're very funny. But that's besides the point. So this is what I built with Lovable, and what I wanted to do was I have my tools that I'm always talking about, and this is really for myself because I was using a Notion page and I have all
Okay.
my affiliates and like it was all over the place. This is actually I was
You're
working at
preaching
one
to the choir
at a time.
here.
So look at it. So basically everything that I find, but this would be good for SEO. I can do pros and cons. I'm also going to create a comparison
Yeah.
section
I
too.
wanted to make a blog post per tool or whatever, essentially, like just me talking about the tool, and that'll essentially help with SEO. So I get you.
Yeah. And with this too, I can there's a functionality because I'm using Superbase in the background. It's using edge functions. I'll talk about that in a second. But basically, I can have all the details pages. I redid all the SEO and the sitemap so that way we can get more traction. Right here with the premium resources access, I connected it with edge functions so I can have it with ConvertKit so they automatically go through a sequence here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, I have a section. It's not done yet, but basically, a lot of people ask me like, what are the exact prompts I use when I'm actually doing certain things. So now you can just copy the prompts, and also too, I'm experimenting with different like blog posts, which I can connect directly to the tool as well.
No.
So
This is why I like Ghost, because Ghost was able to do that too, but I had so many issues with it in the back.
yeah, and I mean, honestly, it took me maybe 3 hours of doing it, just playing around, and I just haven't had a great use case to use Lovable, and it's self-serving. I
Mm.
wanted to, constantly when I'm on streams or people are talking, I'm like, oh yeah, where's that tool? Where's my affiliate links? Well, now this looks a little bit more professional. I can also sell this in my packaging for sponsors that they get featured on this as well, and the list goes on and on. So that's what I have. This was what again, Lovable, and I am announcing it. I am part of their first builder advocates. So I just got that. I was like, can I get a badge? And they're like, yeah, sure, make yourself a
Yeah.
badge. So I will.
Yes.
And so I'll be announcing that later this week. But playing around with it, I thought it was really cool.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so it's not the best looking right now. I'm going to go more aesthetically
Doesn't look too
pleasing later
bad.
on, but it's mobile optimized. It took me about 3 hours to do it, and I need to get more familiar with Lovable anyway. And
Yeah.
so it's been my favorite project. Still, I have tons of I'm not going to go through billing and doing Stripe through these platforms. Too many problems, and we'll talk about that if you want. But I think I'm going to try Mighty Network. We'll talk about that. I know, and I already told him. I'm like, I will be giving my honest opinion if they want me to try it. But we both know what has been going on with them for a long time.
I think they've been improving at least. But so I have a couple topics for you too. Before we get into that, Doc, did I tell you about the All American Rejects thing last week?
What? No.
So All American Rejects is a band I grew up
Yeah.
with, right?
Oh yeah.
And they were my first CD I ever bought, actually,
I love
and first album I ever bought. And they've been doing this pop up tour around the country. And I swear I thought we talked about this last week because I was super stoked about it.
No.
Maybe not. And so essentially last Sunday, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, around 5 p.m., I see that they posted at 3 p.m. the saying they're coming to Columbia. And I'm like, whoa. And then at 7:50 or something like that, they're like, hey, at like 8:50, we're gonna make a announcement sign up for RSVP. We're going to tell you the location of our pop-up show in Columbia. And so at 7:50, I'm like freaking out because I'm like, oh crap, they're coming to Columbia. Like I'm all busy. I'm trying to figure this out. And I'm looking at the video that he does to announce it. And I see the corner of a house that's like kind of like a frat house, if you will, but like it's pretty discernible. And there's only one place in town where they have houses like that on the East Campus. And so I was able to semi-accurately geo-guess where the location was. And I'm glad I did because I never got the text from the RSVP thing. And luckily, a friend of mine also sent me the address later on because they got it. But I ended up going to this concert, and you can look at my Instagram. I have like some videos of it, and it was insane because first off, not only did they repost one of my videos and one of my posts that I shared right on their story, which was really cool. I got to see one of my childhood bands live right in front of me. Granted, I couldn't see the actual singer because he was on the ground level, and there was a whole big ass crowd. But like,
that's
awesome.
It was
huge. It was a big crowd.
That's awesome. Okay. Where is it on?
And then I have this tripod that I brought with me. And let me, you know what? I'm going to grab it because it's pretty cool. We talk about tech. We talk about equipment. So. First off, shout out to SanDisk. Hopefully I'll become a partner with them at some point. I need to get some more hardware partners, and it's a cool bag. And then I have this little, so my little life tip for you, and for anyone watching, shower curtain rod like hooks. I mean, these things are amazing for cable management. Obviously, I'm using it in this case, so that's really cool. So I got this magnetic phone mount for my phone, so I can actually make content pretty easily. This little tripod that I bought on Amazon too extends out, and I added this little, gripper so that I wouldn't lose it. But I was literally holding it up like this, recording the actual, concert, and everyone else's video looked like garbage, whereas mine was above everyone's heads.
I love that.
It was sick. Yeah,
I love that. That's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad. I did not know this. When you said that, I was like, man, I have not heard of this. I've not thought about them in so many years.
They're going all over the country too. They've done like at least 7 performances already, and it's like in people's backyards, so they're going viral too because of it.
That's pretty funny. I do love that. Yeah. I do love that. Super interesting. That's interesting marketing aspect of that as well, and it's awesome to see them.
You said that you were spiraling, and I wanted to join you in that effort. I wish we could toast some rum to this, because considering that we're both here, I mean, I'll toast my Powerade. But
yeah, my oatmeal. Yeah, my.
I don't know what to say because I haven't made any content, Doc. I've been barely making any content, and the thing is, I've had internet now for like a week.
What is going on?
And the really frustrating thing, Doc, is that I could have made content without internet, just not posted it in the 2 weeks leading up to that too. Because once I had moved, I had a really hard time with internet. I don't know if I told you. I think I told you this last week, but they gave me hell. Basically, the installer for the internet effed up and not broke, but messed up the fiber cable. And so when the contractors came afterwards, they told me that it was the installer's fault that I didn't have internet, essentially. And he's supposed to come tomorrow, and it's already plugged in, it's already fixed. I had to get them to activate it, and I called them yesterday, and they're like, "We have to wait till Wednesday, so that's when it's supposed to turn on." I'm like, guys, come on. But I've been using T-Mobile internet, which you can kind of see right here, and that's been working fine. And as much as I want fiber really bad, especially for upload speeds, geez, like having 1,000 upload would be really nice. I'm almost just like, I want to give up on this. This is so frustrating.
That's interesting. So why don't you just get Starlink?
I can't, or I probably can't afford it either too.
One of my friends has it. I haven't looked into it.
You have to pay like $500 to get the kit. Yeah, you have to buy the kit first, Doc. It's like getting you have to pay for the satellite, and then you have to pay for it per month. So I will say I have kind of a to-do list when it comes to content, and I figured maybe this would be a good topic to talk about on the show while we have a chance. Because every so often, I think it's a good idea to revamp your branding, right? And I feel like I'm overdue for a new profile picture. I tried changing it recently. Doesn't really look that great. And so I need something with like high resolution, me in a suit. And I really liked my AI image I had of the multiple arms for a while. And that was really cool. And thanks to my uncle for making it. But it wasn't necessarily as high resolution as I needed because I want people to see my face. I want people to recognize my brand. I wanted to have the colors on there, so I changed it with my logo in the background glowing, which was really cool. And that worked, but I wasn't super happy with it just per se. Like, it just wasn't quite fitting. So I need to revamp the profile picture somehow, maybe get a portrait done or something like that. I want to revamp the banners. I need to make new YouTube channel intros because at least 2 of them are like 2 years old. And then like the newsletters, I told you last week, they're done scheduled. Like all the scheduled posts are now done. So I need to actually get started on that again and do another sprint and schedule some ahead of time. And then I need to get back to like creating weekly content, like edit videos and blog posts and stuff like that.
So do you think it is more a motivation, a workflow block? Where do you see it?
I think it's a combination of things. I mean, I let the internet situation be an excuse, but it was motivation. It was also just kind of blocking myself. It's a habit thing. I need to rebuild the habits. It's like starting over with working out again, right? You have to just start from scratch and build back up. And I lost all my habits, which sucks. I'm not saying it's not my fault. I'm just saying like I've lost all the habits, and that's
So what's the simplest one that you're going to do first?
I think I'm really pretty motivated on the profile picture thing. I need to get that done. I might also try to make those intro videos because those are pretty simple. Just go on there and record a video talking about what the channel is going to be about for the next year or so.
I like that. And when are you going to do them?
This week. I don't know what the profile picture. That's going to be difficult. I got to figure that out. But yeah,
it's not bad. That's not bad. So what is your content schedule? Do you want to put out a lot? What's going on here?
Well, I mean, I'll look on Obsidian. Oh, by the way, I need to talk to you about Obsidian too at the end. But
that video, that me and that guy, we started out almost at the same time. I was on his live stream back in the day. I haven't seen him in a while.
So let me see if I can just share my screen here because this is pretty interesting. People might be curious about it. This is the ideal schedule for me when it came to what I envisioned what my content plan would be like, right? Come on. Windows is terrible for multi-window use, ironically. Okay, share screen. So this is the Poly content schedule. That's what the channel used to be called, the Poly content, operating system. So the idea was that I'd be creating content every day. I still love that idea of creating 100 pieces of content every day. Most of it will be repurposed. That's fine. But essentially, this would be the plan. On Sundays, I would plan out the week. I would try batching. Maybe I'll do a secret series. Like what that secret series is right now is my travel blog on Substack. And because I don't really talk about it too much, but this is a channel where I would probably mention it. Doing a blog post every day. That's something I really want to get done because I have so many posts on the backlog, and I have actually failed at doing that tremendously. Social articles are no longer a thing, but
what are they? What
we talked about that a while back, but essentially it's the bridge between a social post and a blog. So newsletters kind of fall into that category too for a lot of people, where it's not quite as long as a blog post, but it's kind of a medium written post. So people like LinkedIn articles, for example, or Medium articles for a lot of people. But there's plenty of people on Medium or myself whose newsletters are really long form and that kind of thing. And then Mondays were the day I'd be posting a video on this channel. I would post an interview on the main channel on Tuesday, interview on this channel on Thursday, a video on the main channel, and then a gaming channel episode on Saturday. And then throughout there to be some newsletters, that kind of thing.
I like it. How often have you been able to stick to that schedule?
Well, considering that I don't do some of this stuff anymore, and I haven't really done, I don't think I've gotten a full week of all of this yet before. Especially since I haven't done streaming at all. But that's why they're in the little asterisks here.
Got it. Which ones do you enjoy out of that list?
I mean, it depends. Because sometimes I'm into making videos, sometimes I'm into making blog posts. It just changes.
I got you. Just wondering because I was talking to my ChatGPT therapist about content creation, and we have come to the agreement that, well, and also looking at that podcast with Jay Klaus, basically, I don't like shorts. And you know what? This is the thing. I'm going to create the shorts I like, which are verses and ones that are short and those kind of things. In general, I think there's multiple levels, but it comes down to my style and what I do like creating. There's no point of me. It feels me creating short form videos gives me the same amount of like I have to have so much more mental fortitude to do shorts than any other form, and it's causing my production to go down or my productivity to go down because I'm thinking overly too much about shorts. So there's only one type I like. Seems like it's performing. It's in my top tens now. It's only SEO related. I'm only going to do those. And then the rest, if I feel like it or if I'm on stream, I'm going to put it into Menvo because I'm cheap and won't use Opus. Or I will do it if I have free credits. But also, too, unless I'm using that or Taja, I'm just not going to do it anymore because I'm like, I am sitting at my computer for 2.5 hours trying to like knock out 15 shorts or even just like create one really good one when I'm like, I could do 5 videos that I know that I can get sponsors and things like that. So that's what I've realized.
Okay, you got the lifetime deal to Minvo, so I get you on that. And that's still, it's not as good as Opus, obviously, but it's still one of those things where you can just toss it in there and get the job done. That's fine. My devil's advocate that I wanted to say though is that, do you think it's a skill issue rather than just motivation and wanting to do it? Because I've talked about this many times on this channel.
Oh, for shorts, you mean?
Yeah, because creators, because like creators, you're a long form creator. That's where you started. Or I mean, you might have started written, obviously, too. But like, you get what I mean. Yeah. You have written, audio, and video, short, live, and long. And like for me, it takes so much effort to do one simple live stream, like you're talking about with the shorts. But I've also now done, if you include all of the repurposed content, I've made 4,500 or more short form videos. Without the repurposed content, it's probably closer to like 2,000 or 3,000. But I've made a crap ton of short form videos, so for me, it's nothing at all, right? But I can't live stream for the life of me, right? And I wanted to kind of just make that point out there because, first off, just repurposing your content, considering how much you make, is super simple, and that's why I was giving you crap about it. But other than that, like I get also too, if you're making content, you enjoy a particular style of short form video, that's also a better story too.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing. Like, one of the girls that Karima, she's popped off. Hold on one second. Let me get Karima's stuff. Although I am interested in an experiment to try this, but let me show you what one of her videos did. Reels, where is this thing? She did this one on one of, she has 193 likes, 2,000 comments on this one post. Hold on one second. I'll send it to you. And so she was talking about, she was following an account that basically looks at the cadence and you're emulating other people's work, basically the format. And she popped off with this and just went crazy. Really cool. Yeah, she did 1.5 million views on this. If I was able to, if I had a template or I could do something where I'm like, yeah, I will do something similar in this vein or a very specific type of format, I would be more comfortable. But again, it goes back to like what you were saying. I'm the first one to admit it. I think that most people are really good at only a couple forms of content, like naturally. The rest you're going to have to outsource or get someone to be at the level.
Learn how to do.
Yeah, but the time and energy, like this thing, I'm like, what's worth my time and energy? It's not worth it for me at this point. Like the KPIs, the return on investment, all pointing to that has not shown monetarily, nor do I like the skill. Like, no.
Patience. That's the thing. I think you're thinking too quickly. You're trying to think, what is the return on investment within the next few months? For me, it's within the next few years, is what I'm thinking from.
To me, though, I would just pay someone to do short form. You know what I'm saying?
Like me to repurpose your content for Pete's sake, or something like that. You know?
I want to just lay down when I think about this.
Also, at one point, I ran the first 15 videos of this show in Opus and gave you access to the links. And I filtered through all the good ones and bad ones.
I forgot about
and
that.
You didn't even download any of them.
Hey.
You didn't even go on there.
I forgot.
Actually,
I'll do it right now. Calm down.
Well, no, because they're all deleted.
No, now
it's
when
been
I'm ready.
months. It's been months. Doc, I did it back in like January. Well, I think they would have expired anyways. But I wanted to mention, Doc, that I'm probably going to do the second batch because we're at BD-26 now, and I need more shorts on this channel anyways. And since interviews are kind of few and far between, I got one that's coming up. This guy randomly like emailed me. Like, I'm not even sure how he got my email for the most part, but he's like, I want to be on your show, and I'm like, yeah, sure, you got cool content. And he could have just DM'd me, and I probably would have been able to see it too. But so if you guys want to come on the Poly Tools Creator Spotlight, let me know. I like having guests of all sizes, so it's fine. But I need more shorts on here. I see you showing off there, buddy. I need more shorts on here, so I'm going to run all these other videos through Opus. And I was going to say, if you were interested and you were able to get to it, I would run the old episodes too again, so that way you can have access.
Okay, I will do it. I will download them this time. I did not. That's my bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll try it.
We got one more topic before we go. You said you have 40 minutes. I'm going to get this topic in here. Streamer University.
Oh, I was watching it. I was watching the clips anyway. I was watching on
clips,
Twitch.
Yeah. I was watching on TikTok, so yeah.
Yeah.
So I've mainly seen Extra Emily and I think Tina and a little bit of just like some of the craziness that happened. I guess the cops got called or something like that too.
All staged.
Someone got kicked out.
Yeah,
I figured. But I wanted to say there was a lot of ill preparation. Like I was thinking I could probably set this up a lot more effectively when it came to just organizational structure. They needed more of a project manager to get things done. I think they just kind of rolled with it and they should have done a little bit more preparation, planning.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think it was a beautiful mess. I think two things where Kai does a lot of things where it can be higher production. I mean, I think he's one of the best for higher production for the type of content he does. It's not like Ludwig's company that, rest in peace, that got jacked up. But for the scale and everything, I think it's pretty good for a streamer. What I heard was a lot of trying to do it live. And I guess it's really, I mean, it's just hard for that many people to be using the network and that many people, but it kept crashing, right? So they were going to do a couple other things. And it just, if you look at Kai's streams, they had to keep ending it over and over again. Other students still were able to live stream, but I almost think because it was so chaotic, more and more like people were interested. And so I think it's almost like a car crash. Even though like bad things were happening, people are like, now I gotta watch it. Like I'm seeing all these bad things, like, oh, this fight's breaking out, oh, this is happening, this. And so I think if you look at his demeanor, it's controlled chaos. And having that many streamers, I mean, what, Twitch even had its own channel, like a tag for Streamer University? This was insane. So
I think they had too many teachers too. They had like 60 teachers or something like that.
Was it that many?
It was a huge chart that he had that he was like peeling off names and stuff like that.
Those were teachers. Those weren't students that he was peeling off.
Sure, it was teachers. Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
And the thing is, like, Extra Emily had a class where no one showed up, and I think it's just they just probably had too many people going on at the same time.
Yeah. No, I that is for sure. I did not know it was that many. But that makes a lot of sense. If it was that many, yeah, there's no way.
Especially saying, I feel like, and something that's really interesting you mentioned there too, the whole like bandwidth thing. I think a lot of people should have just used your mobile internet, or maybe he should have figured out getting more hotspots. Like you just get multiple hotspots and have certain spots where people could stream. Like you'd have a little like anchor point where people could stream in this area using this hotspot, and then that way you could not overload the main school network, because those school networks are not that good in the first place.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was,
especially not with the content they were trying to do and all that, like
stream,
it didn't make sense.
Yeah. And I was talking to Ryan McGinn. Actually, he's doing the Intention Summit, which is a really cool new conference that he came up with. And I wish I could go to it, to be honest. And yeah, we should talk about this. Maybe I should find the link for people to see in the comments. But let me see. ATT, hold on. attnsummit.com. And I think he's doing a pretty good job when it comes to the pricing of it. Like, if you can't afford too much, you can pay a certain amount or something like that. It's really cool. And he's not gatekeeping the stupid recordings afterwards, which, I mean, come on. All these damn conferences keep doing this, Doc. And I've talked to so many people who host and manage conferences, and they get too caught up in the money of it when it comes to the marketing, though. You could take those keynotes, put them out right away, get the attention as soon as it's fresh. Because otherwise, in 6 months, those keynotes are no longer worth it at that point, really. Not only that, you're missing out on an opportunity for chopping them up, using Opus Clip or Minvo or whatever, toss them into a tool and repurpose it. Yeah. And so that Ryan McGinn's really cool about that. I'm proud of him for that. And he's obviously very well versed in short form video. You could learn a lot from him. Maybe you should watch that interview that I did with him on the channel, Doc.
Yeah, send to me. I don't know who this is.
And so he's the guy behind Grant Cardone's short form video strategy and Jordan Peterson's. I think he's worked with Hormozy in the past, and then a couple other pretty big names out there. I don't think he's released some of the names though, so I can't say much. But the thing is, his mindset and strategy is really cool. And what my point was, is just managing a big live streaming production. And so I was messaging him about this, and he's like, yeah, it's too complicated to do a live stream for an event like this. And my retort was, it's not that complicated tech wise. It's the internet for one, but I actually made a video on this channel about like different technology you could use for live streaming. And it's really interesting because it's like there's a lot of really cool tech that make it simple. But like you need to have capture cards, you need to have little computers that can do it. There's that little computer that's literally a capture card, but it's a full-fledged mini PC, and it has a whole bunch of like HDMI ports. You can plug in multiple cameras and do different angles, stuff like
that. Yes. I forgot. I just got pinged.
All right. Have a wonderful day, folks.